Hi guys, I'm Adam Curran and this is Dark Horse Talks. I'm joined today with
Hazel Woods. I'm an artist from Birmingham.
and
Dorian. I also do a little bit of music myself in terms of music production and songwriting.
thank you guys. Okay, so what happened today? Well, it didn't happen today, but what we've been discussing is this recent video with Tekashi 69, where he says that the #1 spot was snubbed by Ariana Grande and Justin Bieber. Allegedly, this all is. He says that they brought 60,000 units just before the numbers were going to get counted up, which then boosted Ariana Grande and Justin Bieber straight to the #1 spot. So, what do you guys think about this?
Well, first of all, it's something what allegedly has been happening longer than Ariana Grande and Justin Bieber, so we shouldn't be victimising Bieber or Ariana Grande for it. Is it an artist? Could you say is it an artist's ego to be #1? Because obviously it's an accolade what you want, but in my personal opinion as an artist, I feel it's more the record label and the sales team who would be encouraging, false figures for their artist to get #1 than for it to be more of the artist himself. Plus, looking back at a previous account, Tekashi 69 lost out to Travis Scott on the Billboard for an alleged similar sort of offence. So maybe it's sour grapes, or I'm not too sure what to think, to be honest.
What do you think, Dorian?
Yeah, I'd say pretty much in the same there as Hazelwood in terms of it has been happening for a long time, even back to when it were records. I think on wax, it was just about buying a certain amount of units. I don't think there's anything in music law that prevents it from happening. So I think it is a big topic in terms of like what I think about it is something that needs to be discussed most definitely, and it's a very grey area of music law as far as I understand it.
Well, I sort of look at it because I think that as we are all artists, we're looking at it from that perspective. But as Hazel slightly touched on, I think it's the business side of it, the marketing side, because it is a business. So say if you're working for like a regular high street company or a sales company, they would want you to get the highest sales. And there's people behind the scenes who are actually, that's their motivation, not doing a song to enrich people's lives or spread a good message. They're just strictly on the business. I think that they're the ones who, if this has happened, they're the ones who would have the most input into this, like you guys have just said as well. Yeah. So how do you think that this affects the industry now?
I think a lot of people have opened their eyes to it. Me personally, as Dorian even said, it's been going on for years. My father's mentioned it to me before in the past, saying, people back in the day, the Beach Boys, I'm not saying they did it, but that era, going back into the 60s and 70s, they did it previously. So I think it's going to affect the industry in a negative way. You think about it, because a lot of people are going to know they can do it. They can actually cheat their way to the top. Yeah. I think a lot of people will actually try and prosper that way and say to their sales team, look, I can spend an extra 100 grand on my allocated budget to get to #1. I think that could be an action from this, but then it could also go the right way, and Billboard could look into the way, as Dorian says, we're not too sure what the law says, but it could actually change the policy, and it could go back to the good old days where really you had to be successful and be talented to actually become a sustainable artist.
Very true. How do you think
in terms of, sorry.
No, you I was going to go to you next anyway. How do you think it affects?
Just in terms of how it affects the industry, I think it's been affecting the industry a long while. Anyway, I think it's bringing something to the forefront and making people think about it a lot more maybe than they have been, and that's through social media platforms. I think though that it's always going to be a problem until the law, and because it's been happening for so long, as much as it's to affect the industry as much as it is affecting the industry, and rather than looking at it as something that's brand new that's doing that now, it is the way it is at the moment. So I think the way it works is you sort of, as Hazelwood said, you can take out of your budget, so to speak, and then put money into buying units, and that will get you on the Billboard, and then the billboards are then what the radios go by. If you're in the top percentile of billboards, you're going to get radio play automatically, and then radio play, then you earn your money back in a sense, don't you? Because it's you're getting paid voices. Yeah, so a big part of the money you're going to end up getting back, and then the rest of it, I suppose, you're going to and you're touring then, aren't you? Because I think it puts a lot of the actual listener. Like, you get people that are very into the music, and that it doesn't really matter what you make me listen to. It's out there on the forefront. If I don't find it interesting or I don't like it, I'm not going to go for it. Whereas there's a very audience out there that are getting caught in this fishing net, which is like, you'll enjoy whatever I put on the radio for you to enjoy. That's it. And it's like they're getting a big percentage of their market from other people, I think.
But as an artist, I think it would devalue the #1 spot if you know, but deep in your heart, if you knew that you paid for it, it would just devalue everything. So, but that some people can go through life knowing that they've cheated and be happy with it and just put on that kind of face. So at the same time, I think it's down to the individual on if they would do that. Because I personally wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't do it personally just to get the #1 spot. I'd rather earn that #1 spot. But everyone, this is a good thing with these kind of conversations. If we get to understand different people's mentalities, what different people would do, and how they would react to that. So moving on to that, how would you guys react if that was you in that situation? How would you have dealt with it? what would you have done pre? Like, say, would you have gone online and done that same rant? Would you lock yourself in a room? what would you have done? So, what would you guys have done in that situation as being artists? Would you have gone on and done the same kind of rant? Would you have gone onto Instagram? Would you have dealt with it in a completely different way? How would you have dealt with it yourself?
See, personally, you've got to be professional. If that's your, area of work, you have to think to yourself: are you going to damage reputation going out there? Tekashi 69 has already got that reputation from another field. Obviously, don't want to go away from music. So he is someone who opens his mouth and shouts from the rooftop. But I think myself personally, you don't want to, cut off your nose to spite your face. That's the saying, do you? You could, explode and reveal what Billboard's all about, but then you could just destroy your whole music career.
Exactly.
So I think you have to really outweigh how serious it's going to be for you. Are you going to gain it, or is it going to be short term? Is it going to be long term? Because at the end of the day, if you speak to any artist, they want to be sustainable. This could potentially ruin the guy. So he might not be able to come back from something like this. Although some people might actually think he's going to boost his reputation because obviously he's spoken up and been truthful. So we don't know yet, do we? Because there's no actual truth to what he said. There's no actual. It's just a conspiracy theory at the moment, isn't it? It hasn't been proven. So I think we have to keep that opinion until an actual federal government has actually said it's the truth.
Until the investigation's over, we need to be updated with this.
Yeah, you're innocent until proven guilty. That's what they say by the law. So I think I think it's great that he's used his chest and he's been out there. But then me being a bit more professional sided, I wouldn't have done that.
No
chance. I wouldn't have done that because, as I said, man, you could just totally ruin your music career. And you've worked your whole life to get it. Why would you want to just tarnish it away?
But that could relate to, does it mean as much to him? Because he seemed to have just catapulted into being a celebrity. I don't know him, I don't follow his career one bit, but someone who puts in a lot of groundwork and a lot of foundation, they would understand the worth of where they are, and they possibly would have handled that situation with a bit more maturity rather than like a child. So I don't know, but that's what I would have thought.
See, before we move on to Dorian as well to answer this question, I did a bit of research and he actually lost out to Travis Scott, what I said earlier. So I think that he has got that sort of previous experience of actually coming second when he should have came first.
Yeah.
And I think we've all came second when we should have came first. If it's been in a local talent show, or if it's been in a football match, in an athletics competition, doesn't matter what you've done in life, you should have won something and you haven't, and it's been unfair and it's really upset you deep down.
Yeah.
Sometimes the accolade doesn't matter. It's how you feel yourself.
But that's it. Who are you winning for? Because what I've learned in life is have only yourself as the person you're competing with. Because if you're competing with someone else, that is how you will get insane. Because you can't, two people are not the same. You can't compare yourself to someone else. So entering the charts in a way, you're falling into the whole trap. You're falling into the Alice in Wonderland rabbit hole by needing appreciation from somewhere else, and by needing appreciation from someone else. That's why you get yourself into these kind of dramas. When you understand you don't need their appreciation, maybe handle things differently, and then you'll be more humble, and the situation would have gone a bit more smooth. But listen, thank you guys. That is all for Dark Horse Talks, and we'll be in touch, and we'll see what escalates from this, what the outcome is, then we can discuss that. If any other hot topics come up, then we can join together and just have a new discussion together. Is that all right? All right, see you later, Hazel. See you later, Dorian. Have a good day, my boy.
Take care, boys. Good to see you. Take care.
See you later.